Oh man, today we're going to talk about precision, but not in the way that you guys are used to. Now, we actually got a question, and the question this week for our series levels is on when do you actually spot drill or center drill in hard materials? Now, when you hear that question, you're not really thinking about, precision and thinking about the levels in machining. But to me, it kind of opens up the door because everything is about precision. It is about making beautiful parts. It's about making jewelry. This is a part that I actually machined on camera. You can actually see it on YouTube, or you can actually go to our aerospaceacademy.com, and then you can actually see the entire process of this part being machined. So I talk about the strategy, I show you every single tool that I use, and I give you speeds, feeds, depths of cuts, and this is 6Al 4B titanium. Everything is precise. You got true position, and you guys can check out the print also. That's one of the cool things. When you actually look at the videos, you can pull the print and look at the true positioning, look at the callouts. Everything is super tight. Every finish on here, you can't feel anything. If you look at the O-rings and the chamfers, that's probably like a 2000 chamfer. We just kiss that side, make it absolutely perfect. Nice male thread right here. But there's no spot drills on here. There's no center drills on here. And yet all the holes are absolutely perfect. If you actually look at 99% of the videos, I don't remember a single one, and I know that I've never used spot drills or center drills on this channel, but you simply don't see them in our shop. And here's the reason why. If I'm in soft materials and I'm in Delrin or aluminum or any type of plastic or soft materials, my go-to has always been a chamfer mill. I use a 2-flute or 4-flute chamfer mill. If I'm in soft materials, I simply have a 45-degree. It's something I got used to because now when you go into the CAM systems, it is so easy to program chamfer tools. But back in the day when everything was basically 2D, and I was doing a lot of hand programming, doing a lot of different things, a 45-degree, 90 included, just became my tool. It was my standard. I had different sizes. I used them for everything. And the simple fact was, when you take a chamfer tool and it's at a 45, you simply, if you move off 50, you go down 50, and then you're edge to edge, and then whatever you go beyond that is your chamfer. So in my head, it's just super easy to calculate. So if I wanted a 10,000 chamfer, I would just go, 50 over, 50 down, an extra 10, so 60 thousandths, and that would be a 10,000 chamfer. If I wanted a 20,000 chamfer, I go 70 thousandths. And then as a programmer, I would always switch it up. So in one program, I would say it's a 100 thousandths diameter. So basically, you have a 1/4 inch tool, you fake it out, you tell the system that you actually have a 100 thousandths diameter. It actually takes half of that, goes over, and then you give it the depth, and then you're just using part of the tool to make that chamfer at that specific point on the tool. But then the next program, I'll say it's 150 thousandths or 200 thousandths, and depending on how big the chamfer is, I'll fake it out and say it's different diameters, and then therefore I'll be using a different part of the chamfer tool on different surfaces and different parts so that I'm distributing the wear across the entire surface and the tools lasting longer, okay? So the chamfer would actually be my standard, and it's still my standard. So when I actually look at soft materials, I'll chamfer everything, and then I'll go spot everything with a 2-flute chamfer tool. Whatever the tap size is, I would just add 10% to the diameter. So on like a 1032 thread, that would be about 190 thousandths diameter. So then I would add 19, 20 thousandths to that diameter, which would be about 210. And therefore, if I had a chamfer that was 90 degrees included, 45 on one side, I'd simply go down 105 and it would cut twice the size to the 210. Makes sense? So super easy. And even when you go through our academy, that is how we teach you, okay? Because we're running aluminum. Then when you go to hard materials like stainless steel, titanium, Inconel, Monel, just Hastelloy, whatever the material is, we change the process and the thought pattern. Everything changes. To explain this, I'm gonna put the part down, but just to show you, precision is beautiful. Again, this is a part that we actually have on our Aerospace Academy. You can learn all the speeds and feeds, and if you look at it, it looks just like many parts that we made for SpaceX. So you can literally look at how we manufactured this, and we did it in an incredibly efficient manner. And if you simply copy our process, you can go quote that work from SpaceX, Blue Origin, companies like that, and actually make some money. So go check out this part. Now, everyone does things different, and I'm not going to speak to anyone because everyone's going to say, oh, that's wrong, based on their own experiences. I'm just going to tell you, we've made thousands of parts for top companies, and our holes are always perfect. They're always beautiful. So my theory on spot drills and center drills, one is usually they're high-speed steel. Usually the angle is wrong. So now you're stepping into hard materials and you're drilling hard materials. When you're in softer materials or using like lower level drills, you're probably at a 118 on your included angle. Then you start getting into your 135s and your 140s. I think when you look at high level drills, like high level drills for hard materials, that 140 is the sweet spot. So if you actually have a center drill, like a 60-degree or just something smaller, and then you have a 140 coming in, you'll actually hit at one point on that tool. So every time you come in, your tip will actually go into the hole, but you'll drop into the hole from the center drill, and then the outside of the hole will hit that very expensive drill at the exact same place every single time, which will wear the drill down and destroy it. And there's not enough surface area. Like, I'm all about surface area, okay? So if you're at like a 60, you're hitting on the outside over here. Now there's a different rule of thought that says you need to go wider, you need to have a bigger angle than what the drill is. And therefore, if you're at like 140 included, you'd have to go wider so that your tip comes down and actually hit exactly in the center first. And I see a flaw in that also, because a lot of times people are going in, they're drilling and they're coming out and they're not paying attention. They're not creating a dwell down there. They're not actually cleaning it up absolutely perfect. And there can be a tiny little piece of material. And if you're going point to point, that tiny piece of material can actually shift your drill and cause it to walk. So what we always do, and there will be people in the comments that say it's incorrect, and that's okay. Because if you have your style, we have our style. Our holes are always perfect. It works for us. So I'm just going to explain it how we do it. I did a really cool video on a 40 times D diameter, and I showed you our process of how we actually had a pilot drill come in, came out, brought in the long 40 times D, went in, turned it on, came in, had just the slightest backtrack, like 5 thousandths. I want to keep the chips flowing out, and therefore I'm very careful not to pull the drill too much. I just bring it back like 5 thousandths, let it spin for a second, and then I send it more, flushing with high pressure coolant, send more, pull it back 5 thousandths, send more, pull it back 5 thousandths, and we do incredible holes, and they're always perfectly straight. And therein lies what we do different. So I like self-centering drills. So if the hole is actually pretty shallow, I'll just make sure I have a perfect surface, and then I'll use a nice self-centering drill to actually drill. Then I'll come back with a coated chamfer tool at the end, and I'll simply chamfer it, and it's much quicker than going with a high-speed tool or a slow tool to actually spot dead material first. The drill will be way more efficient, and it will be on center perfect. Then you simply chamfer all of them perfect, chamfer your cavities, chamfer everything at the same time, which is the most efficient way to do it. Now let's say you have like a 3/8 drill and you're going 6 or 8 inches deep. Your drill will be this long. So we don't want to actually have the drill out there and have it moving and actually send it through, because there's a good chance that it's actually going to wobble and go the wrong way. So what we want is we want to purchase the long drill and then purchase the stubbiest drill to that diameter of the same quality and the same included angle as the long drill. We'll take the stubby, and depending on the depth, we'll actually go down a half an inch, inch and a half, and we'll basically create a pilot hole that is absolutely perfect. At the bottom of the hole, very important, instead of just going down and coming out, I'll actually go down and dwell for a second or two and let it spin a few rotations on the bottom just to make sure that we get all the chips and it's absolutely perfect on the bottom, and then we'll pull those chips out. We pull the drill out, then we'll take the drill, we'll actually bring it in, we'll actually drop it into the hole, turn on the spindle, and then simply send it through. So depending on the tool, Sometimes we send it all the way through. Sometimes we come in, we just backtrack 5 thou, come in, backtrack 5 thou, boom. Makes perfect sense, and you make absolutely perfect holes. And now I'm just gonna make this point, because a lot of people, there'll be different opinions, but as I said, we make perfect holes in the hardest materials, and we hit it every single time. So included angle, 140, pilot drill. Included angle, long drill, it's exactly the same. You come in, few more RPMs, come out, you come in, turn it on, drop down, and you go. And when you go and you put the pressure on it and your surface area is hitting perfectly at 140, you have full connection, and it simply goes straight, and it makes a perfect hole. At Titans of CNC, during all of our job shop days, working with SpaceX, working with the biggest companies, all of it, you never see a center drill, never see a spot drill, but we make beautiful parts. And that's exactly what our philosophy is. Let's make beautiful parts. Let's make perfect holes. Let's think about every chamfer. Let's think about every surface finish. Let's make jewelry. Let's make money, and let's rise levels in the trade. Love you guys. I will see you next Friday. Boom.